Make no mistake, OpenAI is trying to take on every company in tech right now. Google is the company that a lot of investors thought was going to be under threat. And it was really search that a lot of people thought that ChatGPT was targeting at first. But now OpenAI has introduced a browser, ChatGPT Atlas. It's really just a normal looking browser. There's not a lot different with it except for ChatGPT is integrated. If you are a Chrome user, you know that Gemini is integrated in certain ways into Chrome itself, and you can be logged into your accounts, has all of your information. So there is some of that context if you're a Google user, you use Chrome, and you're signed into your accounts. But ChatGPT is trying to take that to the next level. So is this a real threat to Alphabet? That's really, I think, the question that should be on investors' minds. Shares are down about 4% as I'm recording on Tuesday, but I don't think this is the threat that a lot of people think it is. And it's because of the incentives of the two companies and the experiences that they're going to offer. Alphabet does not make money on Chrome. Alphabet makes money on search. Search gets smarter. It's a more integrated experience if you use it on Chrome, but the browser itself is not profitable. So how is OpenAI going to make its browser profitable? We may actually have the answer to that already. I'll get to that in just a second. My name is Travis William. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. First of all, this is the announcement from OpenAI saying that they're introducing ChatGPT Atlas. I am on Mac OS, which is the first place that this is available. And really, their pitch is that you can bring ChatGPT anywhere you want across the web. This is not necessarily something you couldn't do in a lot of ways with the ChatGPT app, but they're integrating it now into the browser. So it just gets a little bit closer to being on the internet rather than being able to access certain parts of the internet with things like their applications. So in a lot of ways, this is just like a normal web browser. If we go to something like booking.com, you can see that the website loads like it normally would, but now you can ask ChatGPT. But here's the kicker, and I think this is the interesting part for ChatGPT as they launch this. I actually tried to open up Gemini on this and I got this pop-up, ChatGPT for Business. Do you want to upgrade? Now I am signed into my ChatGPT account. You need to when you download this browser, but now they're trying to upsell you. Now imagine if Google did this with the Chrome browser, if they were constantly trying to upsell you for using Gemini or for going to something like the ChatGPT website. I think people would be up in arms if that was the case. Now that's not necessarily going to be the case because you're choosing to use this browser and choosing to interact with ChatGPT. But even when you try to talk to ChatGPT, they're trying to upsell you, at least from my limited experience here, pretty constantly. So is this a better experience? Well, I just put in a simple question here. I want to go to Paris in early November. Okay, that sounds fantastic. And here's ChatGPT's response. How long do you want to stay? What's your travel style? Are you going solo, as a couple, family? This is all information that I can put in booking.com. So there's no real reason to ask ChatGPT any of these things. And that's what I think is so interesting with this move to try to get into the browser business. Browsers are very, very established. So why is OpenAI trying to do this? Why are they making a video platform that's trying to compete with TikTok? And I think part of the answer is that OpenAI doesn't have a great business model today. The subscription business model that it's built its business on so far is a money-losing proposition. So now you have to figure out ways to grow because OpenAI is generating somewhere around $1 trillion between itself and its partners to build out the GPUs, to feed all of the demand, to build all of the models that they want to build in the future. But to go along with that, they need to start generating a lot of revenue. And they're looking at potentially hundreds of billions in revenue in the next 5, 6, 7 years. How are you going to get there? You're going to have to move people from existing products like the Chrome browser to a new browser where you can try to monetize them a little better, where you can collect more data. That's something that OpenAI would love to do. Sam Altman has talked about having a ChatGPT that basically follows you around the internet. It knows your preferences. It knows what you want to do. That's the end goal for OpenAI, to be that one source of truth in your AI world. Is this going to get them there? I just don't see the reason for people to switch from a traditional browser, whether you're using Chrome, whether you're using Safari. Why would you switch from that browser to the ChatGPT browser? And is there going to be enough scale for OpenAI to actually make keeping this browser up? Is it actually going to be worth it to do all that development work? That's really where I run into questions. And as an investor in Alphabet, I don't see this as the disruptive force that a lot of people in the market even currently think it is. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. Just think about looking up Alphabet's stock price. I put in a question, what's happening with Alphabet's stock price today? This gives you a couple of articles in this sidebar, but is this really all that useful? Is this different than just typing in Google Finance? By the way, here's this pop-up again, trying to get me to upgrade. No, I don't want to upgrade. I want to go to the stock price. For Alphabet, you can see down 1.6% as I'm recording earlier in the day. It was down quite a bit more, down to about $245 per share. Now, the other angle of this is if OpenAI is going after browsers, this is going to make Alphabet stay on its P's and Q's. It means that the company is going to have to stay ahead of OpenAI in all of these areas. And I think if you look at their advancements in Gemini, their advancements in models, their improvement of integrating these AI products into all of their products all around the web, part of that is driven by the fact that ChatGPT has been so successful that they've had to respond. So actually, as an investor, being pushed even harder is probably a good thing for Alphabet. And so that's part of what I'm taking away from this today. I don't think this is going to be a big disruptive threat because I don't see the reason to switch browsers. When I'm using artificial intelligence, I'm in an artificial intelligence app. I open up Gemini or I open up ChatGPT. I'm not using it as a sidebar in a normal website that I'm going to. And if those kind of features are valuable, then websites should just build them into their sites. So again, this is one of those things that I think investors are seeing as disruptive to Alphabet, but it's probably not going to be as disruptive as the market thinks it is today. And in fact, it may show just how powerful Alphabet is in browsers, in artificial intelligence, in all the ways that we use Google products without even knowing it. But let me know what you think about the future of Alphabet stock. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.